Well, hello there from me again. It's Friday and it's time for the I Am series. It's Mishka Toth. I'm so happy to be with you once again this week. And as I promised, we're carrying on with the I Am series and how that factor of me knowing who I am can influence so many things in my life. This week, I specifically want to talk to you about my health. Your health. Then you can think, what on earth does it have to do? How does it make any difference to my health? Or how does it make any difference to anybody's health if they know who they are? And you're quite right, because you see, we have separated that. We so often see I'm getting sick, or I'm getting a flu, or I'm really falling ill, and I want you to know today that I'm talking with a lot of sensitivity, knowing that, there are a lot of illnesses out there and people are struggling. And I do think that being healthy is probably one of the greatest things that we can be grateful for. When we have a healthy body, it is possibly worth far more than so much else. And I do understand that you may be in a position where you're not healthy, and I'd like to encourage you to listen with the heart that I give you this, with a heart of love, knowing that it is because I just want everybody to know that what is inside of us do make a difference when it comes to our health. You see, once again, remember, we speak about decisions we make. And being healthy is actually very much a decision sometimes, Often, we've got no control over it. Remember, you and I spoke about it in one of the earlier programs, that certain things in life is just going to happen to us. But often some things happen, and if we would only make the right decisions, if we would have made the right decisions, we could have done something about it before it happens. And that is what I want to talk to you about. The I am factor is that factor inside of us that will always guide us. It will guide us towards our purpose. Now, our purpose and our health, what's one got to do with the other? Let me tell you something. When we understand the purpose on our lives and we start to live in that purpose, first of all, it takes off a lot of stress. Because the moment we know, wow, I'm in that place where I'm supposed to be, there's a lot less stress. Because it's almost like a bird, when a bird flies, I cannot imagine a bird stressing a little bit in the air. Oopsie, I'm struggling today to get up there. The little wings didn't want to work so well. Maybe I should have done a little bit more exercise yesterday. That's not the way it is, because that bird is actually being created to fly. It's in its right spot. It's in its sweet spot. So it does instinctively what it's been created for. Now, I do believe, and this is definitely not a medical opinion because I'm no doctor at all, so I want to link it out of my own experiences once again. But I do believe that when we're in a place where we are content and happy, that it has a tremendous influence on our health. So, preventatively, I'd like to say to you that perhaps, first of all, when we find out who that I am factor is, what am I supposed to do every day? When we do what we're supposed to do, it is almost like we're going into that normal spot. It's easy. Have you ever done that? And some things in life are never going to be easy, because some people are, for instance, naturally a parent, for instance, or a mother, or a wife, or a business person, or a cook, or a artist. That comes so much easier for them. Have you seen it? When they do what they do, you just think, oh my goodness, I wish I could do that. Because that is their purpose. That is what they just love doing. And when they do that, you can literally see on their faces that they're having fun. And when we know who we are, when we understand the I am factor, and we bring that into our lives, can you see where I'm coming to? You start to do things in that stride. You start to love what you're doing. you start to find out that when I get up in the morning, it is not with a feeling of, oh my goodness, it's another day, what am I going to do now? And when we get up in the morning and we feel like that, it is that boxed feeling, that prison feeling. If you go and read the blogs about prisons, life is ready to put us in a form of a prison in our minds at any given moment. Now, when we are sensitive to that I am factor, that prison, you will know it when it comes. You'll know, this is not for me. And to a certain degree, when our bodies are treated like that, the body actually functions better because the stress levels are far lower. Like I mentioned, in fact, you may even find that it gives you energy. It makes you feel good when you're doing what you're actually supposed to do. A person that's an artist, have you seen that? When they do that, it's almost like you can see the beauty in it. It's the same thing when you look at the bird flying and the fish swimming, and it's what they need to do. It's that person that plays that instrument with so much ease, and you think, oh my goodness, I've got absolutely no idea how these things work. But when I listen to that person playing that piano in a way that is just beyond what anybody can understand, you see, they found that purpose that I am. And that makes them they do it with so much ease. And when we are in it, there is far less resistance. I do believe that because we are in positions where we're not supposed to be, and because we are in situations where we've made the wrong decisions, and remember, as we go back, if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, go and listen to all of them, because some area of your life will change. When we understand that we're in an area that we're not supposed to be, you'll start to stop doing whatever you're doing, or you'll start to even maybe shut certain things out of our lives. And that stress factor becomes less. Sometimes we get so used to get involved in confrontation and having people around us that want to fight with us, and there's always conflict. It's not always good for our bodies. It's not always good. I think it's actually never good. We need to know. And when we have conflict, we need to have positive conflict. And when I know who the I am is inside of me, I will understand who the people are. Remember, we spoke about it, that I need to surround myself with. I need to know. I need to be sensitive. When am I going to be quiet? When am I going to rest? What am I going to eat? How many times do I have to actually exercise? Now you can say to me, I hate gym. Well, a lot of people do. You don't have to go to gym to be healthy. There are so many other things that we can do. Spend time in nature. Go for long walks. Run. There's just so much that we can do that has a healthy influence on our body. You see, because our bodies are not separate from the rest of us. Our bodies are completely linked to everything who we are. So my body is linked to what I think. Now, it's not just my brain. When I think, it's a memory. And what I think of is going to influence my body. It's going to have an effect on whatever I do. So exercise is important. It is important to make decisions that are right. You see, remember we spoke about financial decisions. When we know who we are and we make the right decisions, we put far less pressure on our bodies. When we're confident and people put pressure on us and we understand who we are, the I am factor, we will say no. Because what you're doing now can actually be harmful to my body. Being healthy, I started this off now by saying it's possibly one of the greatest things that we can have. It's a treasure. And only a person that's not healthy will today agree with me. A person that knows that, you can't do what you've done previously. There was a very small period of my life, a 6-week period at one point, that my body gave in and I couldn't even walk and I couldn't talk for nearly 6 weeks. And at that point, it was the first time in my life when I realized, oh my goodness, it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how much money you've got, or you don't have. It doesn't matter how many friends you've got. Nothing else matters. Because if your body says, that's it, I will not continue to support you any longer, we've got a problem. And I'd like to encourage you to become far more protective, because our bodies is our responsibility. And when we understand the I am factor and how important it is to look after our bodies, because you see that purpose inside of us needs to be lived out. It needs to come out, and the only way it's going to come out is with us living and moving and having a body to move with. Because imagine there's just no body. What are we going to do? It is to short circuit what is supposed to happen in our lives. So there are certain decisions we can make. What makes you tick? Once again, who am I? What makes me happy? What is my temperament? Do I need to be alone at times? Then be alone at times. And understand who you are. And there's nothing wrong with it. And understand that the people around you may not understand why you need to be alone at times. But if you lovingly tell them, I need my space and I love you, but my body needs this now. I need it. Because your body is directly linked to things like that. You need rest. We need to get out there. Sometimes we just need to be in a place that we look at beautiful things. We have to start to understand that even what we think have a direct influence on our bodies. You know, negative thoughts, it's once again something I don't want to go into, because I never want to put myself out as a specialist on these things, and that's why I always say that I speak out of my own experience. But I can tell you today that you can go and read books about this. I actually want to encourage you to go and read books of people who are specialists in those areas, and you'll find that what we think has a direct influence on everything else. Because when we think negatively about life, there's almost like a poison, they say, it gets released. Have you ever thought about it when you wake up, or whatever you do, that negative thought comes in, it grows, you see? And once again, there are so many influences around us every single day. Unless I know who I am and how to put up a boundary and say to people, look, there's the boundary, I'm not going to be held responsible for you, then we will not be able to do it. That is a big, big, big concern. That is where a lot of people are running with bodies that cannot handle it, because we take on loads that's not our load. You know, if you think about it, somebody asked me the other day, but where does my responsibility stop? You know, if somebody is hungry, you know, what must I do? And I'm possibly one of the most compassionate people, because I like helping. But I do understand that there are boundaries. I don't have to do the garden of my neighbor, do I? It's his responsibility. So we've got to learn to put up boundaries. We've got to learn about boundaries. Where do I say no? Where do I find out that no is actually a complete sentence? When do I find out that knowing who I am makes it so much easier to say no in places? When people want us to do things that we know that's not good for ourselves, and it's not going to be good for our purpose that we need to go and live out there. Not just people, I'm talking about everything around us. You know, eating wrong habits. The last thing that I want to say to anybody that's listening to me ever speaking on anything is that they must be thinking about what they eat every day. I think there's nothing more frustrating to speak to people that keep on thinking about food. For me it is, because I do think food is amazing, and we make a decision to eat because it's healthy. But we cannot continually think about it because it's not good. Stress makes us. Very often, ladies are trying to lose weight and they think so often about food that they continue to eat. You see, the mind is completely linked to all these things. And I just want to say to you, get into your I am fact. There I am. Who are we? Comfortable with who we are. Yes, sometimes Nothing is perfect. Nobody is perfect. And it's actually okay. It is fine. Because your body is precious beyond anything. We need to take care of it. There are other factors that I don't want to go into too much today, but it can play a role. I'd like to first look at the body, and that is healthy living, resting. Stop what you're doing sometimes. Don't sleep too much again. Get out there, go and live, get some fresh air, get out in the sun. Those are practical points. But when we come to the other side, there are other things like unforgiveness. It has a very, very strong impact on our bodies as well. Things that we carry with us, it's not supposed to be there. You see, a bird will never be able to fly so beautiful in its stride when it carries another bird's food, maybe. I always look at them, they're so pretty, they carry this food and they take it to their nest. But can you imagine, instinctively, that bird knows. I think they can go, I don't know how many worms they put into the beak, but the bird knows, I've got to feed my children now. That's my priority. You see, they're flying. They've got no baggage. They don't walk around with, very often we walk around with so many things. It's not supposed to be your portion. It's not supposed to be your part of your life. Look at that. Look at the beauty that nature always sets out for us. As the water comes, how every single one of these flowers just bloom, and they're just having so much fun in blooming. And when I look at them, they're so beautiful to me. It looks like that's what they aim to do, And there's no struggle that this thing is trying to be that thing and trying to take on the nature of something else. It's so beautiful. And when we look at nature, we can learn so much from that, because very often, because we are very clever and intelligent and we've got a mind, we often take on like the burdens of other people and other things. It's not supposed to be there. So I want to encourage you today and say to you, if you know who you are, if you understand that I am factor inside of you, it will be so much easier to say no without feeling guilty. It will be so much easier to know when to say yes and when to do what and in what stride you need to be in. And the pressure, we will stop pressure from coming to us all the time, because it's the pressure all the time. Imagine what your body and my body feels like. Continually be under pressure. And the I am factor is that instinct that when we start to feel so uncomfortable, be sensitive to that. If you just feel uncomfortable with something, it's very often a moment you just need to step back and say, let me look at this first before I go further into this whole thing. That is how we're supposed to live our lives, is to be so sensitive on what's happening around us, because our bodies will respond to that. Once again, look after it. I do believe that our bodies have been actually made to be beautiful and to carry us for however long we are on the earth. I have seen pictures of people that are perhaps 75 and they go to gym and they really take care of their bodies and they're really, really still healthy. And I see the thinking process of another person that might be 75 that's completely the opposite. Once again, it doesn't mean, if you're really, really ill, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. But I do believe once we understand how much we do have a say in what's happening in our lives, we actually start to steer it instead of let everything else just steer us. Don't do that to your body. Take care of it. It's something so precious. It's something so beautiful. Give it its rest. Take care of it. Make it beautiful. Just do something with it that's going to be an investment into your future. Well, that's it for today again. My time is up and I can't wait to spend some more time with you next week on the I Am series. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.